Hey y'all, I want to let you guys know before you get into this story time that I got two of the names mixed up, which was James and Michael. I kept saying Michael was the bad guy, but he was not the bad guy. James is the bad guy and Michael was the good guy. So you may hear me saying that Michael quite often throughout this story time. So just know that I meant James was the bad guy and Michael was the good guy. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you guys for joining me on today. And as you can tell by the thumbnail what today's video is all about, today I am having me some cucumber rice, brown rice to be exact, and I'm having me some sausages to go with that. And to drink, I just have some cold water with lime in it. And also, I'm going to add on some soy sauce to my rice. That give it a little kick and everything. So, let me show you guys. Doesn't that look good? Brown rice and cucumber. This is so good, guys. All right, y'all. I'm doing a little bit different content this time. Because y'all, if y'all know me, or you're going to get to know me, I love to watch Lifetime movies, okay? And the movie I just seen, so it's a little bit story time. I guess you can say that. But the name of the movie is The Killer Downstairs. And I guess I can talk and eat too, right? But, well, first, let me give you guys the first bite. Go ahead. Let me know how it tastes. That is so good. I haven't had nothing to eat all morning. And so I wanted to wait to eat. But, y'all, let me tell y'all about this Storytime movie. Like I said, it's called The Killer Downstairs. Well, it's two friends. One name is Allison, and the other name is Sarah. Those two were best friends ever since elementary school, so they go way back. Okay, Allison, she had a nice big old house, right? Well, she wanted to sell it. It was a family house that was given to her, and she had lost her job because she worked at a law firm, and she had lost her job. Y'all, these cucumbers are good. She had lost her job at this law firm. So she wanted to keep the house up. She did not want to sell the house. And her friend was trying to convince her to sell the house, that would probably be the best option to do. But what Allison was going to do, this house was so big that it was pretty much, she had a suite downstairs. Because when you looked at this movie, downstairs looked totally like a suite. So she wanted to keep the house in the family. And she wanted to rent a renter. She wanted to get a tenant for her to keep her house so she wouldn't have to sell it, right? And so her friend Sarah, she was totally against her letting somebody rent from her that she know nothing about. But what Allison was gonna do, Allison had went online and she looked up family, she looked up family members that was, I guess, wanting to rent houses or whatever. So she came across this guy. Y'all, I'm so sorry. But this is so good. I put my straw in there. My other straws haven't came in yet. Y'all, please don't judge me with this little plastic straw. But anyway, so Allison got online And she had met this guy named Michael. Keep in mind now, Michael was the bad guy, okay? So his profile and everything looked to be the perfect guy or family or whatever. So she called him. He came over to the house, right? Well, she thought that he was going to bring his whole family because his profile has a picture of his wife and a daughter, supposedly, right? Just keep all this in your mind. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but of course I don't want to, just be rambling through the whole story. But anyway, so he came to the door, he knocked on the door, and to make a long story short, he was in love with this woman. He began to stalk her. Even though he was downstairs, she let this guy, she had read supposedly good things about him on his website, and she not knowing who she had let rent from her downstairs. She don't know anything about this guy. Well, anyway, it rocked on. Allison's friend, Sarah, she just kind of felt something about him. He kind of acted differently. But now, Allison, she had been through a lot, and she was divorced from her own husband because when I kept watching the movie, one part she had told the guy, the bad guy, because he asked what had happened with, her and her marriage. She told him that her husband was jealous. She told him that he was, just very mean and rude to her. Okay, that's one part she told him. But, I kept watching, things just not adding up. So, when Sarah had lost her job at the law firm, she went to go work at a store. It was somewhat like an outlet because it had food up in there, and it had outdoor sporting goods stuff that you can use outside and all that type of stuff. So it had all different variety of stuff up in there. Okay. So, and Sarah's boss, his name was Brandon. He had a crush on her as well. He would try to make a move on her. As a matter of fact, when they went out to the restaurant, he made a move on her. And Sarah, I'm sorry, I keep getting their names mixed up, but Allison felt uncomfortable. And Sarah had already told her best friend Allison that if they boss Brandon ever asked them out, she had told her not to do it. But Allison went ahead and did it anyway. And then, let me get some drink, y'all. Because y'all know how Lifetime movies are. It gets good towards the middle and the end of the video. But anyway, so, like I said, Sarah's boss and Allison's boss, which is both their boss. But anyway, his name was Brandon. He had took Allison out on a date. And he was making her feel very uncomfortable. And so Allison had got up and walked outside to her vehicle because she was just that uncomfortable around, her boss, because one, he had put his hand on her and she had said, that was harassment. And she did not like that. So the bad guy named Michael, he somehow was downtown or whatever, getting him a bite to eat, and he saw that her boss man was not, to put it in other words, he didn't like when other men come after her because he was the one, Michael was the one who wanted Allison for himself and to have a family with Allison. And he couldn't stand for no other man to get close to Allison. If y'all catching along to the story here. So he had shut the door. Allison's boss man had shut the door on Allison. And by that time, that's when the bad guy, Michael, came up just out of the blue nowhere. And he was like, is there a problem here? She told you that she's wanting to leave, right? So he finally left. And keep in mind that Allison had this guy Michael living in the bottom state, you can say basement or suite or whatever. Didn't know anything about this guy, so she thought she knew that it was the perfect guy, and it turned out that he really wasn't the perfect guy. And so Allison had came home from work one day from working at the store, and she wanted, just to get some rest, and she had laid her phone down on the counter, right? And so Michael, he made himself a little bit too at home for me, if you would ask. He made her dinner. He would clean the house up upstairs, and he was not supposed to be in the top part. His part was downstairs, but he would make his way up to the top part where she's at, and she know that was kind of awkward and kind of strange. So she left her phone downstairs. He got her phone, and he saw Brandon's number. Brandon is her boss at the store that kind of, he was hitting on her and trying to make a move on her. Michael didn't like that. So Michael texted Brandon, made like it was her from another phone, and told her to meet up, that she was sorry about what happened the other day, that maybe she just read into it wrong, and she was wanting to meet up with him. Well, that wasn't her. That was Michael had got the phone and wrote that in there because he knew that her boss man Brandon was gonna meet up at that place where supposedly he thought that Allison had told her, but it wasn't Allison. It was Michael, the bad guy. So he set him up. So when he got him there, Brandon had came. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is Michael finna do to this man? This man has drove all the way from his house thinking he's finna meet Allison, which, by the way, they call her Allie for a nickname. And so when he met her, so he thought he was going to meet her, but he was meeting Michael. Michael strangled this man. He stabbed him. And got his body and dumped it over into the garbage can, closed it up, and then lit it on. He threw some kerosene or whatever on there and lit it on fire with this man inside of it. And it was a homeless man. He was knocked out because I guess he was living on the street or whatever. He was a homeless man. So Michael had put the phone and the lighter fluid and everything down by this homeless man to try to frame him to make like that he was the one that dumped Brandon's body over into that dumpster and lit it on fire. So I was like, y'all, and it keeps going on and on. Okay, so then there was another guy. He was a lawyer, and he still was a lawyer, and his name, I forgot his name, but anyway, he was a nice, real guy, and he had ran into the store with Allie. Well, her name is Allison, but we call her Allie. He had ran into her because they went to school, and he was like, long time no see, I haven't seen you in a while, and so his thing with her, he had told her that he had a crush on her back in the day, in the school days. And she didn't know that. So he had told her that she was too good to be working in that store. So he was going to try to help her get on her feet in a law firm where he was at. Well, the bad guy, he did not like that at all. So he went there. The bad guy, James, has went there. I'm sorry, guys. I hope I hadn't mixed you guys up. The bad guy, his name is James. And the guy that's the attorney, his name is Michael. So I hope I haven't mixed the names up. But anyway, the bad guy name is James. And the attorney guy name is Michael. Anyway, Michael was getting a little bit too close to Allison. So the bad guy thought. I'm telling you, he did not want nobody to get close to Allison because he wanted Allison for himself. So, y'all, by the way, this is so good. You all try this. So, somehow he had got in touch with the guy that's the lawyer and met him in the parking lot somewhere, but he had snuck up behind him and hit him. Then he got him handcuffed, well, not handcuffed him, but he duct taped his hand around him, put him in a truck, took him to in the middle of nowhere, and started digging up a ditch. And that's where he was going to throw this man up in the ditch. But the attorney so happened to manage to get up, and they kind of struggled with fighting. But in the end, the lawyer, he lost his life to the bad guy because he really couldn't do much because the bad guy had his hands tied up with duct tape. And then, so that was two guys, innocent guys, that bad guy had killed. So it rocked on, and ooh, that water good. So it rocked on and rocked on, where Allison and her best friend had went, I guess you can call it like a little dinner date, but they was inside of Allison's home. And they was drinking some wine. The bad guy that stayed downstairs, and Allison and her best friend Sarah. Okay, so in the bad guy's eyes, Sarah, she was coming on to him. She was knowing what he wasn't really about. And so the bad guy, he knew that. So he asked if he can get them some more to drink. And of course, he went and fixed him some more wine. And he put something in Sarah's drink. And Sarah kind of went out. You know how it is when you got a little buzz. And he did that because he knew she was getting into him. She was finding out that he wasn't really who he said he really was. So one day, I guess they had became good friends, the bad guy and Allison, because they was in the bed together. Because, she did make a move on him because she had kissed him. And so I guess he was calling himself kind of just sleeping up there in her bedroom to kind of protect her from these other guys, because the detectives had been calling her and asking her questions about her boss man and about the attorney, because all of them had ended up to where it looked as though that Allison had been in contact with them, which she really wasn't. The bad guy that she had let stay in her house had framed her. He was framing her for some of those things, just so they can, come and detectives can come and do their thing, and then maybe they won't think anymore about it. They're going to find somebody else, thinking somebody else did the dirt, which in fact it was the bad guy that was doing all the dirt all along, because he didn't want the other guys to get so close to Allison, because he wanted Allison for himself. Well, anyway, Um, like I said, they was in the bed together. Her phone had rang, or maybe she had got a text message when her friend Sarah had gotten home, because they had called a cab for her to pick her up because they thought maybe she was stone lit, but which in fact the bad guy had put something in her drink. Anyway, her best friend Sarah had sent her a text message and saying that he really ain't who he really is, because the pictures, he had photoshopped those pictures and put himself in place with that other man was at, to make it look like that he was married and to make it look like that he had a child. So if you keeping up with me, in the beginning he did not have no child, and he was never married, and he never had no child. He made that profile up just so he can get close to Allison, and he would tell her all the stuff that she would need to hear. And of course, she was so vulnerable that she would just give in. So that's what happened. And so he had deleted her phone text so she wouldn't get it from her friend. But the next day, Allison had texted Sarah. She had been calling her. She's like, Sarah, I'm calling you. She said, why aren't you picking up your phone, right? Well, because the reason why she had called her, because Sarah had someone had broken into her house, and that someone was that bad guy that Allison had downstairs in her, that renter that she had. And Sarah had texted Allison, told her that someone had broken her house. And so by that time, they showed in the movie that the bad guy was the one who broke into her best friend Sarah's house. And Allison had been calling her, trying to find out where she was at and everything. And so when they got to that part of the movie, they showed where he had Allison's best friend Sarah tied up, and her mouth had duct tape on it and everything. So at that time, she was like, I knew my instinct, it was right. He was the bad guy all along, that she should never have let him in her house, which she had tried to tell her that's not a good thing to do, that for her to go ahead and to sell the house. But Allison did not want to. She wanted to keep the house and keep it going in the family. So she thought, well, she get a renter that would help her out because she had lost her job. So, like I said, y'all, this movie is so good. And y'all should know, Lifetime movies are good. They're the best. So, and then, and then getting to the end of the movie, Allison got to snooping around downstairs where she had him renting from her at. And she found her best friend Sarah downstairs with duct tape. And y'all know how these movies can get, baby. Woo! Honey, when she went to snooping downstairs and she found her best friend Sarah, here come the bad guy downstairs. James, the bad guy. OMG. It was over with then. So she hit him with a vase that had flowers in there. And then the struggle went. She went to struggling, tried to get back upstairs, and she couldn't get back upstairs, so he pulled her leg down, and she finally kicked him and punched him she kicked him in the middle. And then once she kicked him in the middle, she finally got upstairs, but she couldn't get the door unlocked. I'm like, Lord have mercy. Y'all, I would have threw something at that window and busted that window out, try to get myself out of that house. You hear me? That's what I would have done. But now, You know, Lifetime got to make it very juicy, right? They got to make it juicy for everybody that's watching. But anyway, and she managed to get upstairs and couldn't get out. And he found both of them were struggling and fighting with each other. And then it showed the next scene where he had both of them in the truck. Okay, he had a truck. And he was going to bury both of them in the backyard or somewhere. He was going to bury them somewhere. And she was trying to make like that they were still to have a relationship. She was just telling him this to, so he can kind of fall for it or whatever. And so they started back to kissing each other. And then when they started kissing each other, that's when she had pushed him over into that 6 feet hole that he had dug for them. Called himself was gonna bury for them. And she managed somehow to get that shovel in her hand with her hand duct taped together. And she she managed to get him. She knocked that man out. So she knocked him out. So y'all, she knocked him back, and he fell backwards into the ditch that he dug for himself. And y'all know what the saying is. I guess that is true. You know the saying is the ditch that you try to dig for somebody be the one that you very well may fall in. And baby, he fell up in that ditch himself. That he called himself trying to dig that ditch for them two, baby. She did that thing what she did with her being duct taping everything with her hands, because she was able to hit him. She knocked him cold slap out, and he went up in that ditch. And she was able to, she didn't kill him. She didn't kill him, but she did knock him out to where he stayed knocked out. So the police got there, and they got him, and they handcuffed him, and they took him to jail. Now, he didn't do anything to her friend, no more than they showed that he was going to bury them together. But, Allison, she got that woman power, and she knocked him out and knocked him in that ditch. And she was able to call the police, and he got arrested. So, and then it turns out that he had murdered, he had murdered 7 other people in 7 different states. So this man was just hopping around. He's pretty much like a leech, hopping around trying to find vulnerable women that he could leech off of, made like he wanted to be a family with them. And if anybody got close to them, any man that was getting close to him, trying to make a move on, he did not like that, he would kill them. So that's what happened in the other states. So this man was crazy. But I was so happy that they made it, that Sarah and her friend made it out alive. As a matter of fact, they was the only 2. I think they probably were the main characters in this movie. They were the only 2 who made it out alive. It was Sarah and her best friend, Allison, the main 2 characters. And their boss had got killed. James had killed him. And he had killed the guy that was the attorney as well. So, they didn't get a chance to make it out. But anyway, this story should let people know, do not go by these profiles. Because people are doing this in real life. They stealing other people's profiles and everything. And they use them like, I don't know, people know how to they know how to cut out a photo of themselves and place it in front of, with somebody else. So You should never, if you haven't dug and really got your information about somebody that you want to rent from you, if you got a big old house and you want somebody to rent from you to be one of your tenants, and you haven't really dug and got your information about this person, I wouldn't suggest nobody to do it. Because this stuff is real life. Even though it was on TV, it was on Lifetime. Excuse me. It was on Lifetime, but this stuff is real. You know, it happens. It happens. So, if Sarah and Allison, they was some good tag team friends. They had been best friends since elementary for nothing, for no reason. And I'm telling you, them two, Allison really helped Sarah out towards the end. She saved her life. She saved both her lives, pretty much. But anytime your friend has a bad, just a bad vibe about somebody, I'm telling you, you better listen to them. 9 times out of 10, they be right. 9 times out of 10, they be right. So listen to your friends. Y'all, this was so good. If you haven't tried this, cucumbers, rice, and sausage, you need to give that a try. But I am about to go, guys. And first I want to say, before I go, if you're new, welcome to our channel. We love you guys. We would gladly love it if you click that subscribe button to our channel so you will get notified, and click that bell so you get notified every time we upload a video. And I thanks for everyone that has been with me since day one. I appreciate it so much. We do. And if you love content like this right here, let me know down below, and I will try to do this maybe once a week, or either once every so often, every so often. I got to see how you guys really like the story time coming from the Lifetime movie. So let me know how you like this movie that I just shared with you guys. And I hope you guys are finished eating with me, or whatever you're doing your hair or whatever. Hope you got me turned on your TV and binge watching all our videos. But I'm going to get ready to go. And I love you guys so much. Me and my husband. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know down below if you would like to see more story times like this, or other different type of content. You let me know, because I like talking with you guys. You guys have to talk to me down below, because I love talking to my subscribers. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.